Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Welcome, everybody, to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast Show. We have an amazing guest. Oh, my God. Do you like channeling? Well, if you've been listening into this show, you must love channeling because I'm a channel. You love me, right? So you got to be tuning into this show. This person is someone who is absolutely helping channelers to be able to be reached and get connected with the world. And so there can be more channeling going on because there's more there, right? There's more that wants to come through. And those of you that want to hear more from the channelers and want to receive from the channelers, you got to hear about this. Also, if you're a channeler, you might want to learn about this organization. So Huenu, I'm so grateful you're here today.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. So thank you so much for having me.
Let's go ahead and share more about you first before we dive in. She's an Argentinian-born citizen of the world. Huenu has learned to create blue ocean companies in various industries, disrupting the status quo, eliminating competition because there isn't any competition anyway, because she's so awesome. All right, okay. With a focus on excellent customer service, admirable leadership skills, and a perfectionist approach to systems and processes, she's a rare all-arounder. Huenu exudes passion, definitely, for what she does, and her can-do, adventurous spirit have seen her venture into a number of unique and wildlife experiences. She graduated third overall in her university, speaks 4 languages fluently, and is an ex-helicopter pilot and member of entrepreneurs organizations. Yeah, she's one of those type of people. Her priorities today are making a positive impact in the world, elevating human consciousness, and taking care of the environment. Orykl is her most passion-driven project to date, and she's fully committed to its success. We've got, guys, isn't it exciting? We've got someone like this that's behind something that's helping channels to reach the world and help out the world. So it's a great pleasure that we have you on the show today, Huenu.
Thank you. I feel a bit embarrassed hearing you say all of that.
That's all true.
There's a lot of passion behind the projects that I do. Yes.
Yes. Well, yeah. I just did another podcast and we were talking about gifts and whatnot. We're talking about more divine gifts a little bit more, but we're like, everybody has their gifts. We're all superheroes. We all got our, thing. And like, we're all meant to play our own role. And, so you're doing this and you're also a channeler too, but you do it for yourself. But like, we all have those abilities, that want to come through us. And it's just a matter of like what our specific gig is. We're all part of that universal fabric that's really helping. So you're like, oh, I could help you. I'm not going to do the channeling. That would distract me. No, let's have you guys do the channeling. I'll help you set you up with people that want to receive channeling and all the things that the platform's doing. So you're able to do that for these people and so many other things you've done and do. But I'm just saying, like, that's a huge gift to the world, and it's a remarkable opportunity. So thank you for being you, and that someone like yourself that's so talented and capable to build companies and everything that's doing this work. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it's kind of what you said. It's about being you, right? It's about knowing where your strengths lie and kind of and doing that, because you'll do it really well if those are your strengths and that's who you really are. And I happen to have a bit of an all-rounder personality and a lot of experience in running companies, and also quite spiritual. So I've combined that spiritual drive, the company background, the fact that I'm an all-rounder, I'm just generally a pretty logical person, and bringing this into this company that I'm creating that brings something that's so left field and so weird to so many people sort of more to mainstream media, you know, to the common person and to the curious people, and not for necessarily the super niche people that are into, you know, deep spirituality, but to really everybody. And I love it. I love channeling. I think the information that comes through is so empowering, which I think is really so important, that we step into that power and stop giving it away to even to our teachers, right? So the teachers, who are all wonderful, but not necessarily giving the power to them. We are, you know, connected enough, we are divine enough to know it all ourselves, and it's just really reaching into that intuition, into who we really are, that we find our power. And I think, you know, I happen to live in South Africa, but I do love Nelson Mandela's quote, that says, our greatest fear is our greatness. And I think people unknowingly are scared of their greatness, and I think channeling helps you find your greatness, find your divine self, find who you really are, and just shine it out into the world, right? And we should all be doing that. We should be tapping into our real selves and shining that light out. And I reckon, you know, we'd live in such a different world if we really knew ourselves a little bit better. So I love channeling, and I love the messages that it gives. It doesn't really matter to me too much who comes through, because I've had so many channeling sessions now that I know that anything that vibrates higher than we do is kind of giving the same message. And it's that message of empowerment, message of, you know, light and love, and you know, so much more. But it isn't so important to me who gets channeled, but like the information that comes through, and then really taking it in, right? And not just listening to it, but like actually doing something with it, which is also something that I'm passionate about. It's like not just having the channeling session, but helping people before and after, especially after, like, what are you going to do with this information? How can we build habits so that you integrate this into your life and, you know, really have the life that you want? Because, you know, we have to listen and then do.
Yeah.
But do with joy and do with passion. So it's not a hard doing, you know. In fact, that's the thing. We need to do less of the hard work and more of the joyous, loving, easy flowing work. And it always feels like, oh, I got to work at it. Yeah, but if it's a work that is aligned with who you are, with your joys and your passions and your excitement, it's actually not going to feel like work. It's going to feel like fun. And that's what, yeah, that's what I'm trying to, I guess, get people to do and understand, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, yes, like I said, I'm a channeler and channel Jesus primarily these days. And I mean, the message from Jesus is pretty much straight up love. I mean, it's not yeah, he says other things. He's, you know, he's bringing in other energy and all kinds of stuff, but basically it's love. It's just like, oh, it's all about love. Come back home. You know, like you are love. Come back home. You know, like, and
Yeah.
so it's really, really cool. So let's talk a little bit more. Let's break this down, because it occurs to me there might be a few people here and there that aren't really quite clear on what channeling is. So I'd love to hear from you, because you've experienced a lot of receiving a lot of channeling as well. From
Yeah.
your own perspective, what is channeling?
Okay. So very often when I ask this question or I hear it, the answer says, well, we all channel.
Mhm.
And yes, that is true. So we have to be clear on what kind of channeling we're talking about, right? So in one way, we all channel. In other ways, what I am doing with my company is a little bit different to what we all do every day, right? So, but essentially, channeling is just being a channel of energy, right, to flow through. So you are a channel and something is sort of flowing through. Now, that's the broad definition, and a lot of things can fit into that, because when an artist is painting, right, there's sort of like, he's not thinking, right? It's almost like something is flowing right through him and his hand is just like painting. He's in the zone. He's just like, you know, so that's a kind of channeling. People channel music, and that's when you just kind of close your eyes and you open yourself up to divine intervention or guidance, and it flows right through you. You know, sometimes you can compose the most amazing piece of music once off, because it just flows and you're channeling beautifully. The channeling that I guess we're talking about is more voice channeling. It's called voice channeling, which means that the channeler is a vessel or a channel for a voice, for a spiritual being, let's call it, for spirit to speak through them. So that spirit part could be lots of things. It could be Jesus, it could be any of the ascended masters, it could be an angel, an archangel, spirit guides, it could be, energy fields that kind of don't have a name, denomination, or anything. It could be universal consciousness, extra dimensional beings, we're talking extraterrestrials. I like to call them extra dimensional beings because they're not in this dimension, right? The elementals, Gaia itself. So it's very weird in a way. It's kind of difficult to understand. I get it. But I guess we can summarize it with anything that vibrates higher than this 3D physical world. So from the fifth dimension and up, right? These energies are channeled through the channeler and they speak through them. And so there's three different types also of voice channeling. You get the trance channeler. The trance channeler is, his personality is very much aside. The entity or the spiritual being is speaking through him or her, and they're not aware of what's happening. So as the human being is not really aware, when they come back, sometimes they don't remember at all, like literally have no idea what they just said. Other times they have a vague recollection, which is the more common, and other times they remember everything. So that's a trance channeler. The conscious channeler is getting information, but is relaying it in the first person. They're saying this, they're telling me to tell you this, but they are saying it as the human being, but they're just relaying information. And the semi-trance can sort of go in and out of that state. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about channeling. But as I said, there's other ways. There's also automatic writing where people just close their eyes and just stuff comes out. So that's also channeling. But this is like voice channeling. So it's pretty amazing because when you have a channeling session, you can literally talk directly, you and this spiritual being, whether it's an extra dimensional being, whether it's Jesus. And I've spoken to Jesus, and it's pretty amazing. Like I've asked pretty hard questions. I have to say I'm not religious, but I've asked questions about Christianity. Well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And it was answered beautifully. So that was very interesting. But it's pretty amazing, and also because they reside in high vibrating states, the information has got a much broader perspective. It's like we have this life and we are very immersed in what happens to us every single day, and they have a much broader view, and they see not just your life but the entire earth and your past lives and your entire self, who you really are. So sometimes when we ask questions about problems that we have in life all the time, they will be able to know, well, yeah, but actually it's because of all of these other things. And maybe it's a past life. Maybe it's something that you picked up when you were a child. Maybe it's, I don't know, it's like in your subconscious. I mean, there's just so much that they can see that for me, it's like the best therapy session ever, right? That's for me. And yeah, I mean, I could keep talking on and on about it, but that's the channeling we're talking about. Yeah.
I mean, you could almost argue everything that happens is channeled. I mean, it's all channeled, right? But yeah, in this case, they're talking about channeling higher dimensional frequencies, like you said, 5D beyond, or to give people a conception of what we're talking about. And I was thinking about Groot from that movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, he says, "I am Groot. I am Groot." And you would imagine, like, because I was imagining, what if I channeled a rock? Probably all you'd be hearing is like, "I am a rock. I am a rock." That's at least what you guys call me. I'm a rock. But I'm here, or whatever. If there would be anything, I don't know. I've never really tried that before. But yeah, so there's all this energy that's available to us to interact with, and you'll be guided, to receive frequencies from a certain being. Like it just be, oh my God, this being I need to hear from, this ray of the one consciousness for all humanity and all times. I need to hear it. That's the one I need to hear from. Like you'll just get the, you have an intuitive sense, right? I know like channels that have there's one all kinds of names, right? Like one we channel the group called the Boys. The Boys. It's the Boys. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they don't have names, so that's what makes it difficult. They don't really have names.
They
And
don't really have,
so
but they give them a name, I think, or something
yes,
like.
they give them a name, yeah. And it will also be something related to the channeler. So the channeler will somehow relate to the name, We know Bashar, obviously, and I know Bashar is I think that, what did Daryl say? That it's a Arabic sort of word meaning something, and he's got some Arabic descent, Bashar. So sometimes it's very particular to the channeler as well. And it's more the meaning, that why that name, there's always a meaning usually
Yeah.
around it, unless you channel more like Jesus and ascended masters who were human beings as well.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you got the group entity, uh, consciousnesses or whatever you want to call them, entities, and then you got the guides, you got the archangels, you got so many. There's so much. There's so many playmates. But if we don't, how about starting to play some more? Like open up some for some frequent. It's a frequency thing. Even when for myself completely, right? Like, and you experience this when you channel, like, you get a frequency shift, each time you channel. Like if I channel for a while, like, yeah, like it just keeps deepening your awakening, raises your frequency. At least that's what I experience. Sometimes if you're new to channeling, yeah, I mean, especially if you're the channeler, sometimes it's disorienting, and like it's if you're not grounded enough yet, and you got to learn all that. But for those of you who just like love the idea of receiving more channeling, well, it could just absolutely melt your mind. I mean, that's the point, right? It's to get out of the 3D mind, become more aware to
Yeah.
what's really exists, is part of what I see in it anyway. There's so much, but
And it's very useful because sometimes when you are a little bit stuck and you don't know how to proceed, you kind of ask for guidance and you get answers. Pretty amazing. So it's just, well, there's many different ways of doing it, but like when you're connected, at least for me, I all of a sudden get really creative answers to problems. And it's actually quite exciting. Sometimes I get excited, like at night, I've got this problem, like, okay, what's going to come through tonight? And honestly, it's like every time. So it's
yeah,
practice, I guess, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to know it's always there and available, right?
yes,
It just takes a little practice, but it is always there and it is always available.
yes,
We just have
to
to
us,
tap.
yeah. It's a matter of tapping into it and all that. So, but you started off with seeking out receiving channeling. That's most people that channel, not all of them, obviously, but start off listening to some channeling, right? That's what I found. Maybe you mentioned one of the more popular ones, I guess, because I really don't listen to a lot of channels, but I channel, like, which is kind of funny, right? Although in recent years, I've listened more to Abraham just for good energy. I'm just like, oh, those are good
Yeah.
teachings. Okay, I'll listen to some Abraham. But yeah, a lot of the different popular ones I don't, really listen to or pay attention to. I'll listen to them for a while, and I'm like, okay, it's interesting. But usually that's where a lot of people start, and then maybe they get channeling sessions, and then next thing you know, they go to a lot of readers too, right? And then psychics and all this cool stuff, and then all of a sudden they're like, I think I got some gifts too, and they'll tell me I'm a reader and a channel too, and I better join the party. And that's usually so. That's how it started for you. I'm trying to point to your story, right? Because it seems like
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a path there for you. So, what got you interested in going for your own sessions for channeling?
So actually, let me just maybe say the whole spiritual story is that my brother passed away in 2009, And we were very close, and that really opened for me the spiritual door, because I wanted to find out what happens when you die. Can I connect with him? Like, didn't want to connect through somebody, but can I maybe speak to him directly? And yeah, and then also led into like a lot of meditation and yoga. And then, I mean, this is many years ago now, 14 years ago. So since then I've done a wide spectrum of things, and at times very devoted to like my meditation. Other times I was just a bit over it, and for a few months, like, nothing. Other times I was really into writing and whatever. And so I've always been exposed to all kinds of spiritual things, I guess. And actually I first heard about channeling through some friends of mine that I hold in high regard, and they told me about Bashar. But they just said, this guy's channeling an alien. And I said, oh, come on, guys, like, no ways. And they're like, no, he channels an alien. I'm like, but you guys, come on, you're intelligent people, how can you believe this? And they're like, just watch it. Like, okay. And I started watching Bashar, and I was fascinated. Like the whole channeling thing, when you first hear about it, it's like, this is crazy. What, you're channeling an like extraterrestrial? Like, that's insane. But then you start listening to it more and more, and then you like watch the documentaries and you watch the YouTubes, and you're like, hey, this like starts making sense. Not just the information that comes through, which is pretty great, like Abraham Hicks. I get the daily email that she sends out. Love it. Sometimes I post it on Facebook. It's so good. So it's that, and the information is great, but also it's fascinating. There's two sides to it. The information is amazing, and then the whole channeling thing is pretty incredible. So I was fascinated by both. And then I don't know how I got invited to somebody's house to hear a live channeling session of this channeler, and we could all ask a question, and we each had a question, and we had pretty difficult questions, in my opinion, from like, what is the purpose of life, to how did Earth start, I don't know, like difficult stuff. And she was amazing, and I was like, geez, this is incredible. And then she said she did private sessions on donation, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm there. Had a session, was blown away. I thought this was great. But then nothing. And then I wanted to help this girl because she had a pretty bad website. It's better now, but at the time it was like too many colors, too many things. I was like, what do you do? I'm not really sure. You do this. And I just said to her, can I please send you a voice note on WhatsApp to just give you some tips, because I'm a business person. I've done many businesses. Like, I just really wanted to help this girl, because she said she was a waitress on her spare time. And I was like, what? Like, how can you be a waitress? You're like, you should be famous. You should be like Bashar, right? So anyway, you guys in the States don't seem to like WhatsApp very much, or at least you're getting
Like
you're
it?
getting
No,
more into it. But
I think
back,
there's more of
a
it
few
now.
years ago, it was,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, never sent that WhatsApp, but I guess it stayed with me. And then I think a few years later, I was sitting in meditation, just sitting there by myself, and then I got this download for the idea for this business, and I got the word Orykl, and it was like an O turning, it was flying towards me, the colors, the whole idea. And I was like, well, that's amazing. I started writing it down, and I had been doing some automatic writing by then already. And yeah, and I mean, that was it. I haven't looked back. I've been writing since, like I say, when I get stuck with something, I just ask and it comes. And it's been like, in a way, the easiest business, because it's just flowed through me. And I do feel like I'm also being very guided by a lot of spiritual beings. I mean, I connect with all kinds, and I'm very guided, and I get that message all the time, and that everything is just going to evolve at the right time and the right pace. So it's a good feeling. But it's also with its challenges, I mean, I'm also living here and have to pay taxes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's so funny in a way, right? It's like
Yeah.
you could just have received a channeling session, because not all the different channels say this, but some of the channels will say things like,
Sorry, I have to tell you this, that in South Africa, because I'm in South Africa, it's crazy, but we lose the power, and I didn't know this was happening. Sure, every day we lose the power for a couple hours.
Oh,
But
wow. Okay.
we already lost the power today, so this is the second power cut.
Oh,
It's
okay.
midnight right now,
Okay.
so I'm sorry. I'm putting this
It's still
louder. It looks a
see
bit
you. At least you had backup
spooky.
lighting or something. Yeah.
So
Like,
thankfully, the Wi-Fi still stays connected. It's called load shedding. If anybody knows anything about South Africa, they'll know about load shedding. It's pretty bad.
probably.
It's still a great country, but anyway,
Yeah,
that's gonna be
really
me
good.
now, like a
Yeah.
ghost.
Makes channeling scary. Oh! Like doing nighttime stories with the flashlights on kind of
It
thing.
looks bad.
Fun.
Okay, all right.
How are we gonna get
Uh,
really serious about this? All right. I mean, yeah, some channels that I've received channeling from, they actually say, yeah, I'm bringing you healing and everything is part of the process as well. Like there can be directed healing through those channeled, transmissions. And if they're not directed, sometimes they're indirect, like they're just happening anyway. They're just from the frequency, actual,
right.
um, just, I don't know, like specific healings could happen, all the different things that could happen, or it's just a frequency upgrade experience. Like, I don't know, I
Mm.
just can't see anything the same way anymore. Like all those things are possible, through channel sessions, which I would probably bring in a little channeling here soon. Why not? I can do a little
Yeah.
channeling for us. But yeah, so there's nothing like just getting direct experience. So I'm just gonna kind of get like, yeah, maybe we will do some channeling here in a moment. So what is this? So what is it that what are the common things you're finding though, like that the reasons why people are looking for channels? Like what kind of problems do they have? Is it like I can't seem to find the answer any other way and that sort of thing? Or what are you finding about the people that are interested in it?
Well, it's actually quite interesting. It's people pretty much like me in the sense that most of them are women. Most
Mhm,
of them are in their mid 40s.
mhm,
Most of them, here's what happens as a woman in your mid 40s who's had children. You have, you have done your youth thing. You've partied, you've traveled, you've had a couple boyfriends, you got married, you had children, you did your job, you worked somewhere, you did your own business or whatever. And now your children are like growing up, they're maybe like 12 or so, and they can sort of take care of themselves. In a few years, they'll be out of the house. And then you're like, okay, I've done it all, but like something is missing, right? There's something missing. Like, why am I still not happy? I mean, why am I not fulfilled? Like I've had moments of that, but why am I not fulfilled? Why do I feel like I'm just not there yet? What else am I supposed to do? Like, I mean, what else? And and that's our core market, that those people that are trying to find their purpose, they're trying to find the why, they're trying to find more to life. I would say it's really related to your life's purpose. And channeling helps people really figure that out, figure out what gets them to tick, where their excitement lies, how they can change their lives. And sometimes it's not a big change, but how to act on that passion and to live that, because we do need to, in order for us to find, I think, true happiness, we need to be doing here on earth what we came here to do. There is a purpose for all of us. And when you find that purpose and you follow through with it, just life just becomes a flow, and it's fun and it's light, and it's like, you can be yourself, because by being yourself, that's, you're good at these things. And
mhm,
so a lot of people find themselves at that point in life where they have looked for that outside. They've looked for that in family, and there's nothing wrong with all of these things, obviously, but like searching ultimately for the ultimate happiness in all these things,
mhm,
and they haven't gone in deep enough, or they've maybe gone in a little bit, and they've figured out that yes, meditation is good, or when I get close to my heart, I do feel good, or when I connect, when I have my divine time during the day, whatever.
mhm,
But there needs to be more connection, more alignment.
mhm,
And this is very, I mean, this is one of the most common things in a channeling session. But Sure, there's a lot as well. I mean, another very, very common one is people that notice they have this repetitive pattern, they keep ending up with the wrong guy or the wrong girl, they keep losing their job, or they just can't make money. I mean, they're just like, it just, like disappears. And they can't get out of the loop. And they've maybe like thought about it, analyzed, and how I can't get out of the loop. And sometimes that's a past life that's just got a hold on you, that really only channeling, maybe other modalities like can really solve. Or it's a belief that it's so deep that you don't even know that you've got it. Or it's a belief that came from your father because it came from his father and it came from his father. And it's this long lineage of this belief that's not really true, that you've just carried, like you've just got your entire ancestors on your back, and you need to break free of that. You need to believe that it's the opposite. So that's quite common, and it's very, I mean, it's amazing when you have a channeling session and those kind of things get released. It's very empowering. The other thing I would say that is pretty common is there's a lot of people that are on a spiritual path, right? And I think most people that come to channeling are not beginners. They've meditated, they're aware of, I don't know, like, what awareness is of themselves, that we're spiritual beings having this physical experience and so on. And they're looking to expand and to grow and to learn more and to sort of get to know themselves even better, right? Really get to know who we are. And just have questions about 5D, what's this thing, going from 3D to 5D, what does that mean, and who are these extra dimensional beings? Or maybe they start having experiences, start dreaming, or seeing things that they think, oh, where's this coming from, is it me? And so there's a lot of curiosity and like wanting to grow and expand, and I think we're seeing more and more of that. And we're actually at Orykl, we're going to do also small groups and then large groups, and we really want to create a community. We're going to do channeling school. We want to teach people how to channel, especially to channel their higher self, and create community around that, and to understand how we truly, truly, truly create our own reality. Life is an absolute mirror of what we shine out, just comes back. So we create that reality by shining out our lights, our best selves, our true essence, and it really bounces back just like lights on a mirror.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, great. Yeah, so that's good. That's a good it's a good reference point of the type of people that reach out. I know, like, I just trying to think, like, well, one of the channeling sessions I got, I remember asking, when you're in business, you wonder about your business, right? Like whatever you're involved with, you're wondering about, right? So even though I can get my own answers, I want to get it from another channel. So if you're a channeler, like, it's good to get channeling sessions anyway, because you're going to get an answer that maybe you won't get on your own. So anyway, so I asked, I forget, who they were channeling even at the time. I'm not great with memory like that, but she's pretty popular channeler. So she channels, and she's like, I'm like, well, my question was, oh, okay, is my business about to take off? What's going on? And because it was at a plateau or whatever, and she's like, yes, or whatever was speaking. Yes, it's going to take off, but not in the way that you think. Like, like things like, like I don't remember much from that session other than that. Like, I'd have to go back and find the notes, but that's something that stood with me. And like, and I look at what I'm doing now. I'm like, yeah, they were totally right about that. I was not expecting what I'm doing right now that was going to happen. That I was going to, lead this program with Jesus and be doing channeling and integrate that with business coaching and everything. And it's going to be this whole, mix of stuff, all in one program. That wasn't on my radar at the time. And so definitely can start to point the way. Some of the channeling will, can be general. I find like most channelers are general, like whatever comes through is more general, but it points in a direction. And then if you want like highly specific information, there are channelers for that too. Like, all right, you know, I'm channeling into your higher self with my higher self or whatever, and here's what I'm getting, and you know, or I'm going to channel a business guide or something, or like
I think, yeah, it also depends very much on the question that you ask.
Yeah.
So you go to the more specific the question, the more specific the answer. And yes, there are differences with channels, there's styles, right? But it's because the information is supposed to be empowering you. So if I tell you, you know, what should I do tomorrow? And I say, well, tomorrow you should stay home. Then you are not empowered. Now I've just told you what to do, and you're giving me the power, and I've decided for you. Whereas if I say to you, I don't know, I mean, but you know, what would you want to do, and why would you want to do? I don't know, but they are able to ask it in a more generic way, so that you empower yourself. You know, so you are better equipped to make good decisions. And remember, the information is always coming from for your highest and greatest good, right? So that's also something that you will, it's quite valuable, because especially when you listen back to the recording, because there's so much in one session, you sometimes miss stuff, right? So when you listen back to the recording, you you just hear it with like a new perspective, and you're like, okay, that's interesting. I have yet to listen to a recording where I go, no, I shouldn't do that, like that's bad advice. Or I mean, like at times there might be something that I don't resonate with at the moment, but it's actually always, it's never like, that's wrong. That's wrong. It's like sometimes I go, okay, I have to think about that, you know? So
totally. Yeah. Totally. That's the way it works. And yeah, you just never know what's going to come through. Often they're just talking to you about the way I mean, I guess again, all channeling different, but often they're pointing to who you are and how you're, you know, what your path is like, and how you're to interact with your experience in your world, right? And without the direct answer, well, we know you like to be like this, so you might want to be kind of going in this direction in general, right? And that's what I've experienced anyway. So yeah, again, it could be specific, I guess, based on your question, but often they talk in those when I channel, it depends. I can practically channel for people totally. I'm a intuitive business coach, but when I channel Jesus, like I usually warn people up front. Now, if you think you're going to get specific answers to your questions, he's probably not going to give you that for the most part.
well, people want to be told what to do because we're a bit lazy, to be honest with you. I mean, I'd rather you tell me what to do and I'll just do it. And then I can also blame you, by the way, because if it doesn't come out right, I didn't make the decision. So, but it's the people that are more awakened and that are more aware and that are really wanting to work on themselves and that are really wanting to just grow as human beings, that will take responsibility and will hear what is being said and will actually act upon it. Because it's true, the spirit won't tell you what to do, what not to do. They won't tell you the lotto number. They won't tell you exactly what's going to happen, because we have free will as well. You know, we always have free will, and any high vibrating energy will never sort of stand in the way of your free will. Like that's paramount, you know, your free will. And then they can show you and tell you what could happen or not, but then it's up to you. You know, we give you the tools and then it's up to you. And as human beings, we don't like it so much because sometimes I just want somebody to lead my life. It's just easier. I mean, it's the same. We do it all the time. I mean, we give our power away to the government. We blame everybody. Everybody's the corporations are to blame, the government. So everyone's to blame, but we don't take responsibility.
Here, over there, everywhere but you.
It's just nice and easy, you know. It's nice and easy. It's never our fault. But you know, we're never great that way either. We need to step into our power, like I say. So sometimes listening back to a recording is so much more powerful because you can be really listen and you go sentence by sentence. And I bet you go, that's right. You know, that's right.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Well, let's see. For the channeling today, let me tune in on that. Yeah, I get to do it a little bit later. Maybe I'll do it towards the end to really cement this thing. Because once we get into channeling land, I get wavy, and some of the listeners might get too wavy. So before we get into some channeling today, first of all, I would love to. I mean, for me, like I've definitely, for me, it's always about like, I don't really have much more to say as far as my own benefits of like receiving channeling from others. My own personal channeling, like I could go on about the benefit of that as well, but benefit is just, I just get to a higher plane of energy and awareness, and then I'm operating in a new way. I'm making new decisions that feel joyful, playful, maybe, or just easy. There's like the sludge has been removed. It's only for a while if you don't keep doing things to grease the skids, but it's been my experience. But sometimes you do. You get a sense of this is a permanent upgrade. I feel totally upgraded, and it'll have a sense of lasting. And then you also will get some clarity and guidance, like, okay, I think I'm going to choose this based on that what I heard, and make those new choices. And it helps you feel empowered. It helps you to have that confidence. What has it been? You kind of alluded to it already and talked about it, but like, are there specific breakthrough stories that you have had, from receiving channel guidance, or is it more a general sense of upgrading, or like, I don't know. I wonder for you, Huenu, how that's played out for you.
So I think for me, my most impactful channeling session was my first one, because I was just in awe of, this. And I was asking questions that are much clearer to me now that back then were not. And so I was learning a lot in those first, especially the first one and the subsequent channeling sessions, more about who we really are. I mean, I've had a couple where I've spoken directly to extra dimensional beings and I've asked about their life and what they do. Those have been pretty mind-blowing. And I had a great one with a guy who channels a woman 700 years in our future. And she was explaining her life and how they manifest reality there, like very consciously with groups of people, meditating and deciding on where they want to go as humanity and discussing possible outcomes, and then like collectively meditating and moving towards that outcome. And so I've had they've been like super interesting like that. And a couple of my, I would say, characteristics that were our negative characteristics that I've let go of from previous lives where I had certain roles, and that has carried through. So I feel like I've let go of that. And I think overall I've just become a lot more easy about everything. Just I don't sweat the small stuff that much. I don't really get upset about like traffic or and I don't mean to say every day, we do have our bad days, but in general my life
I'd be in a car with you. You're like, what the hell's going on with this traffic?
yeah. Of course, but overall, it's just been super positive. So massive breakthroughs, like I wouldn't say it that way. I would just say that I've had a lot of pretty incredible like insights into how life works and like metaphors and explanations. And it's getting easier for me to understand it, because these concepts are super hard to comprehend from our physical reality. We only know, our five senses, and we live in a time-space reality. And how do you explain no time? How do you explain all of these concepts that our mind doesn't, can't? But I've also had lots of, I've done ayahuasca many times, and I've done, many ceremonies and shaman ceremonies and things like that. And so I've been exposed, I've actually really experienced a lot of this stuff. So it's becoming easier and easier for me to really get it. And even then it's difficult to express it because it's kind of a feeling as well. And words are not enough.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like everyone is moving more towards this consciousness and awareness. And it's pretty exciting as people, again, learn more about who they are. We're all learning and growing and expanding. I feel like we're all lifting up together, and some are like balloons floating higher and some are balloons floating lower, but we're all like moving up. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember teaching some students to channel, and I remember like we'd have a whole circle of us. We all go around the room, all channel, like, okay, now you go. We're all like all of this higher plane together, right? And we're all channeling all these messages and everything. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing like it. I remember doing a channeling session for people at one of my events, and it's fun to watch the effect it has on people. I saw people like oh my god, like they're laying out on the ground afterwards because there's so much, it's so potent, particularly for them or whatever. And it's it's beyond words. It's like you're taking to another frequency. It's hard to say, it's just a good thing, you like it. I don't know what other, it's hard to explain some of the benefits. So like how do you tell people why ayahuasca is so good, right? Like that's not always so easy either. I mean, you're gonna throw up, you're gonna get really sick, probably, maybe, okay, all this crazy stuff's gonna happen. Okay, I don't think I want to do it. Well, no, it's really good actually. Like this channeling, you don't actually have to do all that part of it. I'm not bashing ayahuasca, but at least you don't have to go down that path. This will give you some of that sort of vibe. Give you some of that.
It's all in a way kind of related, it's just like tapping into spirit. You tap into spirit in different ways. It's all around us. There's many ways of getting there.
All right, so bottom line, how do we get in?
Okay.
How do we get into this thing? All right, we want to get in. All right.
Nice.
How do we get into this thing? Yeah, tell us more about it.
So the platform I launched is called Orykl, but it's spelled ORYKL.com. Obviously sounds like Oracle. And basically all the channelers that are on there have been vetted, tried and tested, really looked into, and I have vetted all of them. And by now I'm very good at just telling. And it's not that often it's not that they're not channeling or they are channeling, but oftentimes you can see this more of their personality sort of coming through, and this like a narrative, a bias. And I'm very careful. I don't take anybody that's not like a very pure channel and vessel. And so the idea is to create a platform that people can trust, because obviously there's a lot of skepticism, and understandably so. And so the most important thing for me, that this platform is trustworthy and that people go on it and that everybody has a good experience or a good channeling, like it was a real channeling. Then if you like what you heard or you didn't like what you heard is another story, but most of the time you do like what you hear. Actually, most of the time it's a pretty amazing experience. But so that's what I wanted to create, especially in the space that, because I want people to trust channeling. So I want them to try, because I think it's very beneficial. And so I wanted to create a space that people could feel safe going. And the other thing is that there's a variety of channelers, right? So there's they're channeling different beings. So if you want to speak to an angelic being, cool, then you can find one of those. If you want to speak to extra dimensional being because you want to ask all these questions about their life or whatever, there's those. If you want to, there's different kinds. Different languages, different prices, different availability. So it's a nice sort of buffet. And also people are different, maybe some people resonate with a specific type of person, or they just like something that they said, or their mannerisms, or they're just energy. So we try, and we're going to be adding more. We just recently launched in November, so it's very young, but we're going to be adding more and more channelers as we go. And it's also open to channelers, so if they want to join us. But there's a whole process to get vetted, and I really don't accept everyone. I feel kind of bad these days, because before I used to do it incognito. I would just have lots of sessions, pay for them. And at the end, if I didn't like them, I'd just say, thank you so much and bye-bye. Now they know. So I think that sometimes a bit of nerves as well. And it's kind of hard for me to say no. But anyway, and I just want people to try this, because like I said, I think it's the best therapy session. I think it's very empowering. It's very liberating. It's very, different people have different experiences, obviously, but it's really, really worth trying it. And I have to say that also we have a Facebook page. Again, you can look for Orykl, ORYKL, where we have a live channeling session once a month on the first Sunday of the month. We just had one, which is recorded, which you can see, which was with Zintis Mushniks, and he channels Joshua. It's fantastic. You must just listen to the whole channeling. It's actually fantastic. And on the third Sunday of the month, we do it live also on Instagram. And we have a lot of really cool content. There's more coming, and soon, well, next year we'll be launching an Orykl channeling school. There will be like channeling, learn how to channel programs, and also wanting to get people, because it's all great that things are online, and I'm very thankful for, you know, being able to be here, you know, with my friend. I'm on a weekend away and I'm still working, and that's great. But I do feel like we need some physical contact as human beings. We are kind of craving as a species to like more like physical touch. And so we will also want to create community of people to get together, and especially if you're into channeling and you want to create groups by city. So that's something that's also coming, where people can just actually get together, you know, physically and channel for each other, or just discuss anything, you know, like
Right.
you know, like-minded
When
people.
we get into the channeling community, you're the place to go for sure then. And I
Yeah,
get in, right?
yeah.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. So we're gonna put in some links for people to go check it out. So when they go there, they'll see a number of different people and whatnot, and they can just kind of intuitively go where they want to go. There's a need for a search
Yes.
engine, or how does it work? Yeah.
So it's a pretty simple website for now. There's a pretty cool download on the homepage, which are 33 really useful questions that you can ask a channeler. And I think those questions will yield very good answers, you know, useful answers. So that's something nice that people can download. And then you just click on channelers. You can see everybody there. There's videos for everyone. There's quite a bit of write-up, because before people choose a channeler, you want to really get to know them a little bit. So there's quite a bit there about themselves and the channel entity and their story and how they got into it and how the session goes. But the session pretty much is 1 hour, or just over an hour. And usually there's a little bit of icebreaker, you know, you get to know the channeler, but like depends on the client, how long. Maybe sometimes the client has more questions, sometimes it just goes straight into it. And then it's the channeling part, which obviously you can ask questions directly to spirit, whoever is coming through. And often, I would say most of the time, there'll be like an initial message that they want to bring through for you from your higher self. And funny enough, oftentimes that answers already some of the questions that you had. And that's very common. But then you can just ask questions. So it's nice if you write them in an order of importance, you know, from the first one that you want to know the most, and maybe you write 10 questions. Probably get to, it depends on each, some channelers or some, you know, entities like to have longer answers, and some are shorter, but it also depends on the question. But maybe like 5 to 7 is like a common, or 5 to 8 is sort of a common, you know, number. And then sometimes more, to be honest. And then at the end, the channel will come back, and some channelers like to have a bit of a discussion at that point and see if they can clarify some things. And some channelers sort of leave a little bit quicker, I guess. But yeah, then you get a recording. So the next day you get sent an email. It's with another presentation and a recording. And also with AI now we have, it's pretty cool. It's actually amazing. But you get a PDF with what was discussed. So there's the top, all the points that were discussed. There's action points that you must do, and then there's a summary of the session with like extreme accuracy, I have to say. And then you can revisit that as often as you want. So it's very, and then of course, if you want to do another session, like I always compare it to a therapy session. I feel like it's people that enjoy going to therapy sessions. You know, I come from Argentina. In Argentina, there's like a therapist like per person, more or less. Like going to the therapist is like the most normal thing. In the States, so here, not so much. But it's super valuable, right? Just to share, get information, even if it's just to learn more about yourself.
Yeah.
So that's how that goes.
Totally. Only it's way cooler than a therapy session.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both cool, but there's something extra, the sense of extraordinary when you're getting those
Yeah.
for sure.
And
So,
also often, like you were saying earlier, they do a lot of energy healing. Oftentimes we'll do a lot of energy healing, sometimes especially if there's angelic you know, like the archangels. I've had a lot of energy cleansing, and it feels pretty amazing. You usually leave feeling very light, you know. Yeah, it feels wonderful, and a lot of love. You definitely feel the love.
Yeah. Oh, great. So we'll put in the links for people to go ahead and take advantage of that. And I believe we also have an opportunity for for people to do that, and then to go to the page as well, right? And then you mentioned, and when
So
you sign up, make sure you mention you came from the show so that everybody
yeah, so in fact, I think if your listeners, I think you're gonna offer them through you the book through you, they will get 15 extra minutes
okay.
for the session.
I thought there
So
was
it's
a deal.
definitely
Yeah,
worth
okay.
it. It's
Isn't there a deal?
25%
Yeah,
longer. Yeah. So
that's a lot of
so
extra
thank you
time.
for offering that to them. I think it's a really cool gift. So
Everybody
yeah.
with extra time. I mean, you know, for the people who got a lot of questions, you're going to get 15 extra minutes. That you get a lot more time there in there. So that's awesome.
And
Thank you.
always a great question, if you don't know what to ask, is to say, what information is most beneficial for me to know at this time? So
Yes.
there's always an endless supply of information. You know, you can always say, and what else? And you know.
Much more, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do to wrap things up today is, you know, just to remind people how awesome channeling is. First, I'll do a couple of just direct downloads for you, if you don't mind. I'll give you a couple of downloads, just be tuning into you, and then I'll go into some channeling. Maybe we'll have Jesus come through if Jesus wants to come through, and share something briefly, and just wrap the show up with some of that. We'll get some of your feedback after we do it, but it won't take too long, guys. 5-10 minutes max. Okay, so are you ready?
I am. Thank you.
All right, here we go. I was just reminded of Mork and Mindy. Remember that show? You've probably seen that before. Nanu and like, greetings, everyone. Okay, so this is a funny energy coming through. So I just want to share some fun. Let's see what else is coming through. So I think it's coming through because they're trying to point to, you know, that you likely are, you know, coming to this body. It's probably why you go to that particular channeler. Like, you've got that extraterrestrial vibe, and so you're like, oh yeah, we've all come in here to have this fun here as a human now and stuff. So anyway, so this information probably won't be new to you after all the things you've heard, but anyway, so I'm just getting that vibe. All right, let's see what's next. What else wants to be shared here next? Yeah, I just get like you're really sort of a I know you're gonna be humble, you're like, oh, come on in. But like I get this sort of the words master soul, like a master soul sort of for the planet. Excuse me. Wow. Okay, that doesn't usually happen at this point. But yeah, like I see you like there, like during Egyptian times, you're sort of overseeing things. You're like, yeah, okay, we need like this, like that, like something like that. You're busy with your handiwork even back then. This is pretty funny. Okay, let's see what's next. I'm seeing you know how they say there's all these different like power grids or you know PowerPoints throughout the planet that you know the aliens put one here, we'll put one there or whatever. And I get that I get something around you having access to that and be able to use that if you don't already. But I get like you utilizing those access points on the planet. Like I'm not clear how yet, so let's see if they have anything more to say about that. It's something like when you tap into that in the field, just like with the intention and just feel into that. It's transporting you into like more like the ET 5D kind of consciousness. So you can, it's like taking you back home, like it's like a spaceship back home into that consciousness is what they're showing. It's kind of fun. So all right, so those are some just downloads. Okay, we'll do a little bit. We'll get your thoughts about all that in a moment. We'll do a quick channeling for everybody now. And you guys are probably all ETs too, if you're listening, like really from past lives at least. Okay, we're all ETs in a way, in my opinion. But okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do a little channeling from Jesus. Yes, okay. Here we go. Your heart is the key for all those that are ready to enter. Be prepared to deepen in the heart. For the minds of man are to be digested into the mystery of the unknown, into the heart. The deeper understanding comes from this descension into the heart. You will lay on hands. You will uplift humanity with your words. You're not just another random being on the planet. You have a unique frequency, a unique touch. Your love is potent and pure. As children of God, you're to play, to dance. It all can be merry and well in the midst of any storms. For all that wants to be addressed can simply be addressed from the love in your heart, from these higher frequencies. Time is collapsing into a singular point where you can see everything clearly now. What didn't make sense becomes straight and clear. Questioning mind becomes observant. The tyrant, master of the mind, becomes the servant. You've trudged over so many lifetimes and so many years, dragging and screaming much of the way. It's time for this solace for your soul. Come back now. Thank you. Okay. All right. Come, yeah, open your eyes when you're ready. Huenu. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, that was fun. So it's just fun to let it come through. And yeah, I'd love for any quick thoughts or comments you have about what came through, and as people are just kind of soaking in the transmission.
Yeah, no, thank you. I always like take the information with such an open heart. So I'm always grateful. I always try and really internalize and live it, not just hear it. So I think the difference between somebody being a powerful being or whatever we want to call it or not is just really like shining their light, living their truth, being themselves. We all have the power to do that. Not all of us are going to do it, but we all have the power to do it. So I invite everybody to step into their power, and shine their light, shine your light. And it doesn't, we don't have to affect the whole world to make a difference. We can affect one person, but it's about shining our light. It's about really being ourselves, loving ourselves, sharing love, being love, all those good things every day, and it's a little work in progress every single day. So as long as we're moving forwards, that's good. And and thank you for having me, I really appreciate it. And thank you for letting me share about Orykl. And if you're listening, give it a go. It's orykl.com. And thank you. I appreciate what you do.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, guys, there's channels that are, you're going to experience even way more potent that little tiny time we spent together there, and whatever, you'll find your right speed. But you got to, remember, you get that taste again in your mouth. You're like, yeah, I like that kind of stuff. I want some more. So that's partly why I wanted to just offer that today. So go on over to Orykl through the link in the show notes, or you can just look it up online if for some reason you can't find it, but you want to look at those show notes if you can, so you get the information you need to get that extra 15 minutes, which is really cool. So I'm just so grateful for the work you're doing and the platform that you've created and the community. Really, it's way more than just a platform. It's so much you're bringing together with that, and so grateful for you. So thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. And as I always say at the end of each show, keep on tuning in, everybody, and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time, everyone. The Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.